Good morning, and welcome to the 2020 Your Voice Matters Student Summit. Today is going to be a fun and interactive day. Students will come together to learn from community leaders about the importance of voting and being civically engaged. Our objectives for today's summit is for students to ask elected officials questions about local government and their communities, learn about the voting process and the importance of voting, discover how to become a change agent in their own community and school, and design and implement a voter registration campaign for their peers. And I'm your host, Michael Hauser. A little bit about me: I am the Education and Policy Liaison for Cleveland School. In that role, I work with different government officials on our local, state, and national level. I'm also a former county councilman working for underprivileged communities. I'm a proud CMSD graduate, I have a master's from CSU, and I also helped create this summit today. My very first person I'd like to introduce is our County Executive, Armin Budish. Armin Budish is a lifelong Clevelander and was elected to a second four-year term as Cuyahoga County Executive in November 2018. During his first term, County Executive Budish oversaw the county's first ever strategic plan. His vision to make Cuyahoga County a vibrant region where everyone thrives and all things are possible. The county delivers health and human services across the county to those in need and supports infrastructure's needs across the county. At the same time, Executive Budish believes in the power of economic development to bring a keen business community to Cuyahoga County and to create and retain jobs for the people of Cuyahoga County. He has more than doubled the number of Cuyahoga County children attending high-quality pre-K on scholarship and was one of the driving forces behind Say Yes Cleveland, a powerful program that gives Cleveland high school students the support and scholarship to attend college. Introducing my good friend, County Executive Armin Budish.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate everybody being here. It's a real pleasure to be able to address you all. I'm very grateful to Councilwoman Shontel Brown, Representative Terrence Upchurch, Congressman Gonzalez, and Board of Elections Director Anthony Perlotti, all for participating in this presentation on the importance of voting. They're all great advocates for the right to vote. I was pulling together my ideas for this discussion last week, and I wanted to give everyone a really concrete example or two of why voting matters. I'm pretty sure that everyone watching this has already had this drilled into your heads, but I'm going to say it again: your voice matters, your vote is important. But it's hard to make it personal. I mean, we all know intellectually that it's the right thing to do, but why should you care? So let me give you a couple examples. First, I'll focus on my friend Lee Fisher's run for State Attorney General 30 years ago. The Attorney General is a powerful position. For example, if the state legislature passes a law protecting gay rights and it's challenged in court, the Attorney General can vigorously defend the law or not. When a for-profit school company gets paid millions of dollars from the state for students that never showed up, the Attorney General can prosecute or not. So Lee Fisher ran for Attorney General for Ohio and received 1,680,698 votes. And I give you that exact number because his opponent received 1,234 fewer votes. If just one more person in each precinct voted for the other guy, Mr. Fisher would have lost. Every vote counts. My second example is much more current. We have a presidential election just 6 weeks from now, and in fact, early voting starts in 2 weeks. Ohio is historically a swing state and could either go Trump or Biden. It's likely to be close, and the outcome in Ohio could determine the entire election. So your vote really does matter. I don't have to tell you how important the role of the president is. Just this year, we saw how the president can handle national crises like a pandemic. We've seen how a president can impact race relations, guns, immigration, and the economy. Your vote is really important. I know it can feel sometimes like we're so far away from Washington or Columbus, and we're far away from what looks like a bunch of people arguing and fighting and getting very little done. And it's clear that many young people feel that way. In the last presidential election, 2016, The age group with the lowest turnout was 18 to 29-year-olds at 46%. The good news is that same age group is the same one that's also showing the highest increase in turnout right now. So more and more young people understand that voting is important. The truth is that there's a lot at stake. My point is, you do make a difference. You have an opinion about how things are going in our country or our county or around the world. Your vote is the most effective way you can express this. Yes, you can take to the streets, and many of you have. That's another way to be heard. But in order for those actions to have an impact, you have to vote for people who you hope and expect will listen. So, bottom line, register now if you haven't already, and then vote. Please vote. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you so much, Executive Budish. Now we'll introduce the rest of our guests. First, we have our County Councilwoman, Chantel Brown. Chantel is honored to serve District 9. Before she became a County Councilwoman, Chantel served as a Warrenville Heights City Councilwoman for 3 years. As a member of County Council, Mrs. Brown advocates for the reduce of infant mortalities and to increase the comforts of senior citizens aging in their home. Councilwoman Brown made history in August 2017 when she became the first woman and African American to be elected to chair of the Cobb County Democratic Party. Our next panelist is State Representative Terrence Upchurch. Terrence Upchurch served as a special assistant to Cleveland City Council and previously alongside County Councilman Anthony Harrison. From his time working on City Council, Terrence has learned and developed a keen understanding of the nuances of government, which he brings to the State House. Terrence understands the importance of forming relationships in Columbus, bipartisanship, and has created a platform to fight for working class families and help municipalities meet the basic needs of its people, including essential services like police and fire in District 10 and all across Ohio. Terrence wants to reverse the impact constituents have felt of a state legislation that continues to cut community resources. He vows to be a true and trusted ally in the State House for his community. Introducing my good friend, Terrence Upchurch. Next, we have Director Anthony Perlates. Director Perlates joined the Cobb County Board of Election as a Human Resource Manager in 2017. Director Perlates has 12 years of public service experience and is working hard to create a healthy, high-quality service at the Board of Election and to the public. Director Perlates is known as an innovative thinker and a solution-oriented leader. He continues to integrate existing agency strengths into a concrete, positive effort for many. And now we'll introduce a video of some voices and names you might be familiar with.
Hello, I'm Perez Hilton. Did you know that more people in the United States check their Facebook and watch the Super Bowl than exercise their right to vote? We've got some serious issues to deal with. So how come so many of us don't even bother to vote? Is it because we don't care? Or maybe it's because we don't know our history.
So let's go back, way back. Our country's first election came after fighting for our independence, a fight that cost many lives, but it was worth it because instead of being ruled by a king, we were finally able to make our own laws.
But not everybody was allowed to participate. You see, back then, you had to own property, be white, and a man in order to actually vote. Now, things continued that way for about 80 years, until after the Civil War, when slavery was abolished and all men were given the right to vote.
Now, hold up a minute. Just because we had the right to vote didn't mean we could use it. See, all these new voters wanted to participate, which threatened the people in power and their ability to stay in power. So they tried to stop us with violence and shady new requirements like literacy tests and poll taxes. We had to fight for nearly 100 years before the Voting Rights Act passed. which finally outlawed these dirty tricks.
And you weren't the only ones that had to fight for your right to vote. Somehow women got left out and had to organize and fight state by state. Until we took our fight to Washington and finally got our right to vote all across the country. And even once the laws guaranteed every person the ability to vote, you still had to be 21 in most states. So when our government began drafting people under 21 to go fight in Vietnam, they realized their lives were at stake and they had no say. Young people all across the country rose up in protest and demanded that everyone over 18 should be allowed to vote.
And since then, young people's votes have been crucial in deciding lots of big elections. Like in 2008, when a black candidate had a real chance to become president, young people showed up in record numbers. And every year, we make up a larger share of the voting population, giving young people more power, but only if we participate.
So let me break it down. Together, there is so much we can decide, like whether or not we should go to war, or how we spend our money, and how we power our lives.
We can determine who has the right to marry, and who has the right to choose, what possessions should be outlawed, and whether or not we should legalize.
It's up to you to make your choices and shape our future. If we sit on the sidelines, then others will make it work for them instead of us. So let's make our voices heard.
So what would it take for you to vote?
All right, for the easy part, I get to ask you guys questions. We're going to start with you, Councilwoman Brown. Please describe your role as a county councilwoman.
Thank you, first and foremost, for putting on this summit. It's always a pleasure to be with County Executive Armin Budish, State Rep Upchurch, Director Anthony Parlati, and my good friend Michael Hauser, the best, the hostess with the mostest. What I enjoy most about being a county councilwoman is being an advocate, being a champion for the people who often are overlooked or underserved or don't have the voice or the words to articulate some of the needs that they feel or that they need for themselves. And as a legislator, I have been blessed with the ability to influence laws and ordinances that empower and afford these individuals that we talk about different opportunities that they may not have if it weren't for someone like me and my good friends here with us today, speaking on their behalf.
Sounds good. Councilwoman, tell me the importance of women in government.
Oh, how much time do we have? And so as we come on the heels of, it's the 100-year anniversary of the 19th Amendment of Women's Voting Rights, we bring a different perspective. We have, I think there's a natural instinct to nurture as women in leadership, and we just think about things, I think, a little bit differently than our male counterparts. As we mourn the loss of the life and the legendary Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I think she is probably the epitome of what it is to have women in elected positions. She was a fierce fighter for women's rights, civil rights, LGBTQ+ rights. And I think when you have these different perspectives, it opens up the ideas. I'm a little biased, and being the only woman on this panel today, I would dare to say that women bring, they enhance and elevate the conversations and just bring a perspective of just somewhat a little bit more compassion when it comes to legislation and making laws for our citizens. So having a woman's perspective is definitely needed in our society. And I am just so, I understand the privilege of the role that I have being a lady in leadership and a lady legislator. So thank you.
Councilwoman, as chair of the Ohio Democratic Party, tell me some of the potential issues that happen on ballots.
Oh, so we have a number of issues, and I thank you too for that promotion. I don't know if David Pepper appreciate you calling me the chair of the Ohio Party, but I'm the county chairperson, and I look forward to maybe one day, maybe you're prophesying over me. So I received that too, Brother Hauser, that one day I might become the chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. But as we sit here and we talk about the issues, some of the issues that we're dealing with right now on this ballot, very near and dear to my heart. The Cleveland, City of Cleveland has an issue on the ballot, and it's a renewal for a levy. And when we think about things like this, it's important because these dollars help to fund the education, the public education, which has already been deemed unconstitutional the way that we do it. So we have to have issues on the ballot to make sure that we get accurate funds and adequate funding for our students so that they have an equal access to quality education in our public school system. We also have another issue on the ballot, this particular election for our county library, the Cuyahoga County Library. That's another levy that people will see. These are the type of issues that help strengthen our communities, provide resources to our citizens, and just make us better overall. And so when we think about these things and the impact that they have on our lives, it should motivate people to definitely make their voices heard at the ballot box, because these are the things that impact everybody at the end of the day. Education is something that is going to shape our communities. Long after we graduate high school, it'll be the determining factor on what type of jobs that we get, the rates that we will get paid. The resources that the library offers determines whether or not somebody who may not have access to the internet at their home can maybe afford to go to a library and utilize that resource. That resource would be available to them. So those issues are just two that are going to be on the ballot, and depending on where you live, if you live in the city of Cleveland, then you'll see that issue relative to the school district. If you live outside of Cleveland and in one of our Cuyahoga County Library branches, you'll see that issue on your ballot. But the issues, Mike, they are the things that really have the greatest impact on our everyday lives. And I hope that people will vote up and down the ballot from the top to the bottom and include those issues when they cast their ballot, not only for the president, but definitely for the issues as well.
That sounds great. So last question, you're the chair of the County Democratic Party, County Councilwoman, and I hear you're also a rapper and you made a video encouraging people to get involved with the census, the 2020 census.
Yes. So I thought it was important to try to, give a little edutainment, as I like to call it, a little education and entertainment at the same time. And the census only comes every 10 years. And so it is important that we are counted in the census. And when I say we, particularly populations that are hard to reach, and those are generally communities of color. And you may have heard this as being a part of the community, that oftentimes people wonder, why is it that our community, and when I say our, the Black community, seems to get the short end of the stick when it comes to resources as it relates to government? Well, I would challenge them to think about whether or not they filled out the census, and if everyone they know has completed the census, because that is the determining factor on how a lot of the funds are allocated to communities throughout the country. So if you haven't filled out the census, then we can't put those resources into the communities where they don't think people are. We need people to be counted so that they know we exist, so that we can get the funding to help build schools and pave roads and do all of those things, start new businesses. And even in this current pandemic, County Executive Budish might be able to touch on how the census dollars were tied to CARES money, which is the COVID-19 money to help communities try to recover, if you will, or get the resources that they need to be able to survive during this pandemic. That dollar figure was based on our population that was counted in the census 10 years ago. So we need people to participate and not think that this is a mechanism for tracking you. Because I dare say, if you are watching this right now, or if you have a bank account or a checking account or a cell phone, trust me, the census is not the tool that they are using to track you. That is really, really a mechanism for us to be able to provide our community with funds to improve our community. So I am begging, I plead with everyone under the sound of my voice, check out my rap. And after you do that, go to 2020census.gov and show your girl some love and fill out the census.
Let's do this video right now.
Ever wonder why some communities seem like they just get all the money? Money for businesses, money for schools, money for roads. Well, listen, my friends, because it's about the census. It'll be 10 more years before we do this again. So I need you to get counted so we can get these ends. I'm talking about that money, them dollars and census. The government spends to conduct their business. And yes, I'm a witness of some of the myths that this info will be used to track down delinquents, but that isn't true. Let me give you the scoop. This info's too important to be shared with law enforcement. So if you self-report, then they won't knock on your door. Responses are essential, but your answers confidential, so there's no need to delay. We can get this done today. By mail, by phone, online, you choose. I need you to get counted because we got too much to lose. There's millions on the line that our community can use. So let's get this green so we don't get the blues. Rest assured this much is true. Big Brother's already watching you. He know about you and your crew and all the little dirt you do. This ain't their way for tracking you. So let me break it down for you. The census is by how and who they get federal money to. The census collects information about the population based on location to make determinations about the allocations for representation when it comes to your state and the nation. It's the census. I need you to get counted. Don't try to work around it. You looking for this money, thought it's lost. Well, I found it. Accept the invitation. Provide your information so we can get the right appropriations. Show your love. Go to 2020census.gov and get counted. Thank you, Mike.
No problem, anytime. Well, for whatever it's worth, I thought it was a great play on words, and I thought you did an excellent job on the video. My next questions are for, say, Representative Terrence Upchurch. Representative Upchurch, can you just tell me your role in government?
Absolutely. So my role in government is to legislate. So the two biggest components of my job are creating laws that benefit everyday people in Ohio, as well as advocating money from the state to my district. I've had the honor and the privilege to sit on 5 committees: insurance, health, ways and means, economic workforce development, and just recently public utilities. Lately, the legislature has been working together to make sure that this election is fair, it's open and accessible. And that comes through challenging the Secretary of State to make sure that there's adequate polling places, that people have access to voting, and making sure that that it's done in a fair and precise way. There's a lot at stake in this election, and I would encourage young people watching this video to get out and vote. If you're not happy with the quality of life in your neighborhood, go out and vote. If you're not happy with police relations in your community, go out and vote. And if you're not voting for yourself, do like my congresswoman always says, vote for somebody else. Vote for my grandmother who needs affordable prescription drugs, or vote for my niece who needs a quality education. You're not just voting for yourself, you're voting for other people, and you're voting for the quality of lives of others. So that's been my role at the state level. I'm just excited to be here, and I want to thank you for putting this together, Michael, and executive. It's good to see you. Councilwoman, always good to be with you.
Speaking of young people, Representative Upchurch, why don't you tell me the biggest challenge you see for Ohio in the bills that impact young adults?
Sure. I would say student loans. And Michael, you understand this just as well as I do. Go to college for 4 years or for however long it takes you go with the intentions of improving your life when you get out of school, but yet you find yourself in an economy that does not have job opportunities for everyone, but yet you're still stuck with skyrocketing student loan debt. And making Ohio competitive is one of the greatest challenges. How we compete with other states to keep our graduates here, I believe is going to be the greatest challenge for young people moving forward.
Representative Upchurch, can you tell me the importance of voting and being civically involved?
Well, yeah, like I said, if you're not voting for yourself, you're voting for other people who depend upon your vote. I was always encouraged to vote at a young age. My first election experience was walking with my grandfather to Indian Hills Elementary School in '96 when he voted for Bill Clinton. I just remember him taking that pen and filling in circles. Didn't understand the importance of it, but I remember the reaction and the excitement that he felt to participate in our democracy, because he knew that he was making his voice heard and creating change, not just in his life, but my life coming up. And I think that's what young people have to understand, that your vote matters, and that's the best way to make your voice heard. Protesting and bringing awareness to issues is just as important, but to follow up with action, the most important way to follow up with action is voting.
I think you already answered it, Representative Upchurch, but just to reiterate, any call of action, I know you've been involved since for a long time, any call of action for our youth, for our young people watching today?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look across this country and see what's happening. People are upset with the way things are going. And a lot of people are making their voices heard, and they're bringing awareness. This has got to translate into votes. And this is an opportunity for young people to step up and really show that they have a voice and that they have a stake in the future of our country and the direction that we're going. And if you're unhappy with your leadership, the best way to make it known that you're unhappy is to vote. So I would urge all young people watching, get out and vote. And don't just vote, but be active, organize, get involved in your community. I've been doing this for quite a while, and one of the people that I watched for a long time was you, Michael, and I followed in behind you for a while. So just getting involved, do what you can in your community, make sure you're registered to vote, get your friends registered to vote, and go on and execute.
Thank you so much, Representative Upchurch. Thank you for those kind words. And now we'll hear a video from Congressman Anthony Gonzalez. Congressman Gonzalez created the Election Technology Research Act of 2019 to support election security. U.S. Congressman Anthony Gonzalez is proud to represent Ohio's 16th District in the U.S. House of Representatives. Congressman Gonzalez was born and raised in Northeast Ohio. He is a graduate of The Ohio State University, where he played wide receiver under Coach Jim Tressel. Before becoming a first-round draft pick by the Indianapolis Colts, after 5 seasons in the NFL, Congressman Gonzalez attended Stanford Business School and launched a career in the technology industry before returning home to Northeast Ohio. And now we will watch the video.
Hello, everybody. My name is Congressman Anthony Gonzalez. I have the distinct honor of representing Ohio's 16th District in the United States Congress. So that means if you grew up on the west side of Cleveland and Cleveland suburbs on the west side, or your family lives there, then I would be your member of Congress. And it is an incredible honor, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity. But I want to spend a few minutes here today to encourage you to register to vote and to go exercise your vote, either at the polls or through one of the various channels that we have in this state of making sure that you exercise the franchise to vote. The truth is, we live in the most vibrant democracy that the world has ever known. It's messy, it's chaotic, it's frustrating at times, it's frustrating for me, it's frustrating for you, but the best chance that we have of creating a world and a society that we're proud of, that reflects our values, is to make sure that we are demanding of our public officials that they represent our values, and then we vote for those who do. And the truth is, when I was young, I wasn't so sure that I believed all of that. But as you mature, as you get older, as you get involved, you realize something very powerful. And it's true in this country, but it's not true everywhere. And that's that this country will go where you take it. It will go where the people want it to go, exercised through their right to vote and by advocating for issues that are important to them in the community. So please don't ever forget that. Whether you're skeptical or tired or you just don't know if it's worth it, I promise you it is. People like me, every day, we're thinking about how can we better represent you? How can we better represent your family? How can we create a society that we're proud of and that is deserving of such an amazing republic that we have? And so thank you for taking a few minutes to listen. Please do register to vote. Go vote. Make your voice heard, not only this election day, but every election day, and get involved. The country needs you, and we want to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you for the video, Congressman Gonzalez. And now we will hear words from the Director of the Board of Elections, Anthony Perlotti.
So here in Ohio, the whole process of voting, as all the esteemed panel has encouraged you to do, it starts with the voter registration. And it's a simple form that you need to fill out. And on this form, all you're basically doing is putting your name, your address, your date of birth, and you put down a form of identification. Most individuals put the last 4 digits of their social security number or their driver's license number, and then you go ahead and you have to sign it. So if you get a paper form, and you can get those forms by going to the Board of Elections website, which is 443vote.us. You go to the registration button, and you can fill out a PDF, type that up, print it out, sign it, and you send it to our offices. But you also have the opportunity in Ohio where you can register online. And again, you go to our website and you go to the registration page and you click the register online. And you put in that same information, your name, your address, date of birth. If you do register online, you need 2 forms of identification. And that is your driver's license number and the last 4 digits of your social security. Obviously, you can't sign an online registration, and that's why you put your driver's license number in, because the system will get your signature from the BMV and provide it to us here at the Board of Elections. It's important, though, that you register timely. And you have to be registered 30 days before the election. And so for this upcoming presidential election, that date's October 5th. So just under 2 weeks from today. But again, it's a very simple process. And by doing that, you now have your ticket and you're ready to vote in the election.
Thank you. Anthony, can you tell us the process to vote by mail?
Right. So in Ohio, you have 3 ways in which you can vote. And one of the most popular ways to do that is voting by mail. And that is a multi-step process. Again, it starts out with the form. It's a simple form. And again, you can get that at the Board of Elections website at 443vote.us. And on that application, you basically are putting the same information as you do on your registration. Your name, your address, your date of birth, a form of identification. Again, your last 4 of your social security number or your driver's license number are the most frequently used forms of identification, and you sign that and you send it in. The biggest mistake individuals make on their application is forgetting to put their birth date. So you want to make sure you do include that piece of information. Once we have your application, we process that, and then we'll go ahead and we'll mail you out a ballot. Now, ballots for this upcoming presidential election can't be mailed until October 6th. But you can turn in your application now, and I encourage you to do that now. So when the first day we can mail ballots, we'll be able to mail you a ballot. Once you get that ballot in the mail, you'll go ahead and you vote it. Has a bunch of bubbles next to names and issues, so you just fill in the circle on what you want, put it back in an envelope where you'll, again, fill out your name, address, and again, those pieces of information I said, and you mail it back to us. Once we get it, we're able to process it, and on election day, report your results.
Anthony, is the Board of Elections doing anything special to recruit youth to be poll workers this year?
So in the pandemic, it becomes a little bit tricky in trying to recruit student poll workers to work the polls, but doesn't mean that we're not going to do it, and we are working with it. So schools are allowed to set up programs with the Board of Elections where seniors in high school, age 17 and up, are able to work the polls on election day. So far, we have 70 students signed up to work on election day for the election. And it's a great opportunity to learn more about the voting process, be part of what it takes to make it happen. We train you on what you need to do. If you're a student, we will train you online so you can do it from the comfort of your home. And what you want to do is you want to talk to your teacher, talk to a history teacher or a coordinator at your school, letting them know that you're interested in working the polls. And then our staff will work with the school staff to make sure that we can get your application to get you trained. It's without poll workers and student poll workers, election day can't happen. So it is an important job. And it's actually, not only is it good because it's a civic minded thing to do, but it also pays, which is always a nice incentive for people to work the polls.
Thank you so much, Director. We have questions from our youth. This is open to the entire panel. Anyone can answer. Our first question from one of our youth is, Can people who are released from jail still vote?
So yes, they can. So if someone is convicted of a felony and they're incarcerated, their voter registration will be canceled. However, once being released from jail, they are eligible to register again. They're not automatically registered. They do have to take the step and complete a registration. And again, either a paper card or going online and doing that. But they are eligible to vote, and they should register and they should participate.
The next question from our youth is, how has COVID-19 impacted this year's election?
Well, it's definitely made it more difficult. And I can tell you from my perspective, March 17th was the original day for the primary. And if you saw the fallout, I mean, it was crazy. 1 minute, the election was canceled. Then it was back on, then it was canceled again. And it's just hard to get that information out to your residents who you want to make sure have all the information and that they're brought up to speed on everything that's happening. And it really exposed the fact that we were not prepared for something of this magnitude.
I'll follow up and say we did learn a lot from March 17th. And I applaud Director Pilati for the efforts that he's making and taking to ensure that polling locations are well staffed and safe and secure. And people can be confident that if they do decide to vote in person at our Board of Elections, which is located at 2925 Euclid Avenue, that they can trust that their ballot is still going to be processed safely and securely. There's been a lot of talk about the Postal Service and potential delays there. I applaud our county executive for taking some initiatives to expand the expand the points for people to be able to deliver their ballots to the Board of Elections. However, those were met with some appeals by our Secretary of State, unfortunately. So we still have 28 days. Let me highlight that. There is still 28 days to cast your ballot in Ohio, which is still it's enough time to plan. And so we're asking you to make sure that you vote early. Don't wait until November the 3rd. I would urge you to get October the 6th locked into your mind, because that's the first day when you can cast a ballot. If you plan to vote by mail, I wouldn't wait any later than October the 15th if you're going to vote by mail to request your ballot, because you still need time for the Postal Service to deliver it to you and time for you to get it back into the hands of the Board of Elections. So yes, COVID-19 has posed some challenges, Mike, but it's not a stop sign, it's a detour. We just have to work around the situations that have been presented to us. And I know that these fine folks in Cuyahoga County, coupled with the leadership of County Executive and Director Pilati, can get it done.
And if I might add, Councilwoman Brown did a great job of explaining where we are. It's important to note that the county government has been working closely with Director Pilati and the board to make sure that people who do choose to go vote at a polling place in person will be safe. So we have plenty of personal protective equipment that's been delivered, a lot of sanitizing done, sanitizer available, pens available so you don't have to hold somebody else's pen, spacing on the lines, everything that can possibly be done is being done by the board. So I think you can feel safe if you choose to vote in person. And as Councilwoman Brown indicated, you can also vote by mail. Get your application in now. It'll come out, it'll be sent October 6th by the board. That means you'll get it probably in several days after the 6th. If you get it and turn it around quickly, fill it out and put it right back in the mail, there will not be a question about it getting to the board on time. If you wait till the last minute, then you're taking your chances. Get it in quickly. Vote as soon as you get the ballot in the mail. Turn it around, and that's critically important.
To follow up on that question, what can students do who aren't yet eligible to vote? How can they support this year's election?
Well, for me, I would encourage them, if they have an issue that they're passionate about, to align themselves with maybe some of the candidates that are on the ballot. There's not just presidents on the ballot. We have state representatives like Representative Upchurch, although I believe he is unopposed, but we do have candidates and that's a great position to be in. But we do have some candidates that have opposition. So find a candidate that you like and maybe volunteer for their campaign to make phone calls or write postcards on their behalf. Additionally, Mr. Perlotti pointed out that you can work the polls on election day. A lot of schools offer credit for students when they take the initiative to participate in this civic duty. So I would just encourage you to do those two things, and most importantly, make sure everyone that you share a home with does their civic duty and cast their ballot. That's probably the most important thing that you can do, aside from voting yourself, is make sure that everyone that you know who lives in your home has cast their ballot in this election.
Yeah, so last question for the entire group. Besides running for elected office, are there any other jobs in the field of politics? And what areas of study would you suggest for those interested in studying government in college?
Well, I can tell you that you can study anything in college and go into politics. I think that's one of the beautiful things about our democracy is, as we have seen at the highest of levels, you can come out of nowhere and hold elected office. But besides being an elected official, there's the bureaucratic part of government that you can work in. There's different departments of government that you can work in. There's various fields of government that make our government that you can definitely be a part in and be involved and make better. So it's not just holding elected office that makes you part of government. You can actually work within the bureaucracy of government.
So to add, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I would say politics covers every aspect of our lives, although we don't always see it that way. So from the individuals who police the streets, from the trash pickup to the water that we drink, those decisions are often being made by people who hold elected office. But they're not doing these jobs alone. They have what we call cabinet members who they appoint to help lead some very influential positions that make decisions that are impacting our everyday lives, whether it's education, criminal justice, environment, engineering, fixing the roads. All of these things kind of tie back to politics. So I have to agree with Terrence, Representative Upchurch. Anything that you do at this juncture in your life can somehow be woven into the fabric of politics. And I also add this, on the more creative side, if you will, campaigning and messaging, what we're doing right now. We have guys working behind the scenes that are doing videography, marketing, making sure that these messages are getting out to our constituents and the people who live in our community. So all of these things, again, you might not think of them immediately as political positions, but we rely heavily on these videographers and photographers and marketing people to help us share what it is that we are advocating for or pushing for as elected officials to make our communities better. So don't limit yourself. You can find a way, even stylists, sometimes we need help looking good. So, there's always a road into politics as far as I'm concerned.
And there's really no one path, has been indicated, to get to, if you want to become a government official. There's, as we saw today, being a football star is not a bad way to go if you want to get into elective office. You could be a rap star like Councilwoman Brown and get to office. There's a lot of ways to get there. There's no one path that fits everybody. If you want to learn more about whether this is a path for you, I would suggest that you contact either one of your local elected officials, contact a county council person or a county administration. If you want to come and volunteer for a while and check out what there is to do, we have some volunteers here that are very active and performing really helpful tasks for us. Councilwoman Brown mentioned all our work on equity, for example. We have a volunteer that's pulling together what is being done along equity lines throughout the country, and that's going to be very valuable to us. So there's a lot of ways you can get in, your foot in the door, and to learn whether this is even something you're really interested in or not.
That is great. On that note, we will hear closing remarks from County Executive Armin Budish.
Well, I think I might have just given them, but I really appreciate all the people that are on this call. I really appreciate all the people that have been watching and listening because it shows at least you have some interest in government, and that's what's so important. I don't know that people understand how government impacts all of us every day in almost everything we do. We know, bits and pieces. We know government does police and fire protection. It does, garbage collection and other things. But, people don't know that the job training that's out there is often done through government. Connecting people to open jobs is done through government. Helping people with food stamps or mental health issues or, just really everything. I mean, I could go through a list. The bottom line is government impacts almost everything we do. I hear people complain all the time about, they don't like what the president's doing. They don't like what the governor's doing. They don't like what we're doing. And that's okay, but complaining itself is not an answer to anything. Voting is the answer. If you go out and vote, you can pick the people who you want to be complaining to, people who will be responsive to you, people who will listen to you. That's what voting is all about. That's how you get things done. And I encourage you all, please register and vote. This is an important time, an important election, and we need everybody to get out and vote. So thanks for putting this on, Michael.
Yeah, so thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you for our fourth annual virtual Your Voice Matters Youth Summit. I want to thank Director Pilati, County Executive Armin Budish, County Councilwoman Chantel Brown, and State Representative Terrence Upchurch. We also would like to thank Congressman Gonzalez for that video. For our youth in the audience, please remember to vote often, vote early, and make sure your voice matters. Thank you.
So what I would say to someone who's thinking about not voting or doing their research before they vote is that a blind vote is a wasted vote.
Have a plan, know the deadlines, and go vote. It's that simple.
It's a privilege and a great honor that Americans have, and so many other people are looking forward to it. Go out and make your vote count.
It is so important that every eligible individual vote. You're making your voice heard, and you're partaking in democracy. In the past 5 years, in Ohio alone, 141 races have been decided by a single vote or they've ended in a tie. Your vote matters.
I vote because I care about my community. I vote because I care about my future. I vote because I care about your future. And lastly, I vote because my voice matters.
Hello, my name is Virginia Lewis. I'm here to tell you how to register to vote. You can register to vote in 3 ways. 1, online, 2, in mail, or 3, in person. You can register online at ohio.gov to send it in. You can do it in mail. You can go onto ohio.sos.gov to get an absentee ballot and fill it out, and you can mail it to your county boards of elections. 3, you can go to your county board of elections if possible with COVID-19 happening and register there. Or you can check at vote.org to see if you're registered already. 2, voting is important because you can get your voice heard. This is your time to hear people, for the government to hear what the citizens have to say about what they're doing wrong or what they can improve. 3, I'm telling my family to vote because I know that they want to have their voice heard, and it's going to help a lot of problems happening in the community right now. Thank you.
Enough electoral votes, more than 270, more than enough to become the 44th president of the United States. He will be the first African-American president of the United States.
I've been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes. I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us. And that's wrong vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012. I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can. And everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke. I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own. And
enough electoral votes, more than 270, more than enough to become the 44th president of the United States. He will be the first African-American president of the United States.
I've been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes. I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us. And that's wrong vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012. I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can. And everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke. I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own. Ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture. I don't even know the mayor's name. I ain't never seen her one time ever. Tell me how she gonna help the city. What I'm supposed to do, write letters? What I'm supposed to do, blame Trump? He ain't never really gave ain't nobody raised minimum wage. None of these jobs pay enough. I think they just want to keep us broke, cause they ain't putting nothing in place for us. This how all my people feel, but we gotta learn. We complained enough. Let me change it up. Everything I just said, everybody I know think the same way. See, they don't want to see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws. They just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws. They the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court calls. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't wanna tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the 3rd branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon ain't had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in, cause they ain't know who to vote against. Imagine life on the other side. Roads better, schools better, everybody get their license back, grocery store food better, custody of your kids back, homeless people get new shelters. If we gon' fix the U.S., we gotta start with them 2 letters, me and you. Somebody told us that the government wanna keep us broke, but the only reason why those people in the government is cause we ain't vote. And I ain't talking about the president, I'm talking about the ones we ain't know. See, they was gonna try to keep it low, but it's gonna hurt them when they see the pros.
Every time you stay home, someone is making a decision about you, making decisions about the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food your kids eat, and how much money you bring home every 2 weeks. So every time you sit out an election, every time you don't show up because you think it doesn't matter, someone else is happy that you didn't show up, so they can make that decision for you. Vote.